Yo, UMB alert members, what is up, man? What a day. 10/13, October 10/13 in the market. We knew, guys. I told you guys, I put out a post there on Facebook kind of detailing all the nonsense that we dealt with on Friday and everything, all the liquidity that flushed out of the market, all that nonsense, and said, guys, this could actually be a really good sign for a really good week ahead, right? Look at what happened today. For all you UMB alert members that were getting these alerts today, oh my God, we absolutely crushed it. Look at this. I'm just going to start right out of the gate. My goal here with this video is to, again, break down a few of these alerts so that the alert members that are getting them can watch these videos and hopefully gain some insight from them on how to actually trade these alerts moving forward. We're going to do our absolute best to make these videos after the day has completed so that, again, anybody that's getting the alerts that's trying to use them that maybe isn't seeing the most success or, is just looking for a little bit more insight on what us analysts would be doing with this alert as it comes through and how we're interpreting the chart. This is exactly what these videos are for. So again, we're going to try to get through these alerts. There was a lot today. I'm probably only going to do a few of them here for you, but if there is one in particular from today that you would like me to put on the chart and get and mark it up and make a video, I am more than happy to do so. So get in the comments and let me know if there's something I'm missing. If you have questions, just let me know. So right out of the gate, let me just pull up the alert system here, which you can see. Right out of the gate, 440 this morning, FGL came through with warming up. I am very familiar with FGL. We have played it many times before. It is a low-cost stock, it usually sits somewhere around 30-40 cents. Typically not my favorite when they're under $1 like that, but this thing can actually get some legs when it wants to. When the right volume comes in, as you can see here, it can actually get some legs. So, and it definitely did just that. So this blue box here is, this candle specifically is 440 this morning. So if you got this alert, what's the first thing we're going to do, right? Absolutely, hands down, the first thing you're going to do when you open a chart after you get an alert is kind of crunch it up a little, go to a 3-minute, 5-minute chart if you have to, if it makes it easier. Figure out where your support and resistance is, at least your most basic, most recent one or whatever it might be. You need a couple of lines to figure out what you're dealing with. So when we opened this chart this morning, we were right here at 440, right about 48 cents. We knew that we had just made a new high for the day here at about almost 49, well, with the wick up to about 50 cents. And we also knew that this wick in here might be hard to see on the screen, was the previous high. So the absolute first thing you should do is get a line here that marks the body of your previous high as fast as you can, and get a line here that marks the wick and or body of the high before that. So that's going to end up being your support line. This one here is going to end up being your resistance line. And you know that what you're waiting for is a pullback to that support so that you can potentially take a position down here and catch that next leg up, right? So there's two ways to play this. You could have said, okay, I'm just going to watch this thing fall off, and if it just never comes back, then obviously I'm never taking a position, because what you're looking for is a break of this resistance line, which happened right here. You could have played it that way and taken your position after we broke. You also, if you were fast enough to actually plot this support line off this wick, you could have said, okay, I'm going to wait for this thing to pull back to that support line, or at least somewhere close, take my starters here, which would be, half a position or a quarter of a normal size position, ride that up, and then if we actually do get this break of this resistance line, I will add to my position and go from there. So regardless, FGL was a pretty fire alert this morning. It was early. You had to obviously be up in front of your charts ready to go. This thing definitely paid off. If you waited until this higher break right here to take a position, so what happened was at 447 we broke, 448 we pulled back, it's a perfect break and retest. You break through that support, you wait for the next candle to come open and actually test that support, and then confirm that it's going to keep going. going. So if you had taken your position right here at 49, you were riding that thing all the way up to 64. That's a 30% move. If you had taken starters down here off that support line that you had made, that was a 47% move right here. So again, FGL 440 this morning. It's a pretty good play. I'm happy to break this down in a little more detail or talk anybody through it if you'd like to, but for purposes of the length of this video, we're just going to keep right on cruising. So what do we got here? So the absolute next alert wasn't for a couple hours later. 7:57 this morning, STI. Man, this thing was a beast today for sure. We got on this many times. We were on it in our live trading session today. And it just provided so many opportunities for today. It was choppy this morning. I remember it being a VWAP reclaim, and then it fell off, and then it kind of came back and fell off and came back. So let's break this down. This might be a good one because I don't think it was quite, it was quite the runner right out of the gate. So let me just show you how I would have traded this. So 7:57 this morning was right about here. And as you'll see, this blue line got another box there. This blue line on my chart here is my VWAP. Keep in mind, guys, this is Robinhood Broker. I also use Webull. It just depends on when and what I'm trading. And we also, for all of our alerts that go out, the main platform that is used is TradingView, which is probably hands down the best platform out there, in my opinion, and the other analysts in the group. So with that said, VWAP is calculated differently, unfortunately, between brokers. I know it sounds crazy, but it is absolutely the truth. And so what happened right here at 7:57 this morning, STI VWAP reclaim alert came out. So as you can see on my chart, it didn't actually reclaim my VWAP, but it absolutely did on TradingView. And I don't have that up right now here to show you, but it had reclaimed a VWAP, and then it kind of just fell back off and danced around. So what you would have wanted to see here, if let's just, I'll just grab one of these lines. We'll just use a straight line, right? Let's just say like, this is your VWAP, right? We'll just make believe that this red line here is VWAP. So, okay, we came up, we had a VWAP reclaim, it came down, it tested it. That would have actually been a position that I would have taken if this is what it looked like. So this was your alert. It reclaimed the VWAP. It came back down, it tested it, it shot back up, and then we had a lot of dancing right in here, which is exactly what happens at 8 a.m. You guys got to be careful at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock, similar to 7 a.m. for that matter, when a lot of the other brokers open, and not quite as bad as 9:30 with New York. With the New York Open, but at 8 a.m. it's very common to see this crazy jumping around with all these wicks. It's a very volatile time to kind of hold anything. Regardless, it fell off. You would have been stopped out quickly, and it came down here and just danced around. Now, somewhere around 8:53 or so, it did actually reclaim my VWAP. That there could have been a play for sure. It dipped right back down. Very volatile. Until later in the day when this thing just wouldn't let up. It was halting and all kinds of nonsense. I think, let's see here. Let me just scroll through the alerts here. Yeah, around 9:32, another one came out with a high a day on it, which would have been right about here. So if you had somehow taken that position back there and rode that out, you would have had you would have rode up from about let's see. You would have rode up from about $11 to $13 in 2 hours. But nobody would have ridden this kind of dip through here. It just wasn't going to happen. It fell way below VWAP. You should have cut immediately if you lost VWAP. That would have been the play there. And then you're just going to keep eyes on it the rest of the day, especially if we're sending out alerts. You guys got to remember, like, we send out one of the first alerts that we can, but we're watching probably 20 to 30 different screens at a time and stocks at a time, trying to bring you the best alerts that we possibly can. We don't always see when these things dip back off or when they take back off. So we do our absolute best. But if we send an alert, it should be something that if you don't have multiple screens or the ability to watch multiple screens, you should be checking back on it to make sure that, hey, did that thing move? Did it make a new high? Are we approaching a new high? That's the way that you should be using these alerts for sure. So somewhere we probably had another STI alert, I'm imagining. If I scroll down through the alerts, I don't see one in, oh yeah, all the way at noon basically. So we were essentially referencing that first 1083 alert and then calling a high a day at 1798 right around noon. So this thing was an absolute monster. This would have been, the second we saw this around 1030 come back up over VWAP and make this sharp move and actually break this high a day line, all eyes should have been on it for sure. I know mine were. I know I played it multiple times through here, but this would have been a perfect stock, a perfect ticker to use the 5-8-3MA strategy on. If you go through here and look at how many times you can spot the setup to use that scalping strategy that we taught you, we just put a video out on it. It's ridiculous. You could have played that strategy here. You could have played it here. You could have played it here, here, here. I mean here, right here. It's just, it goes on and on and on. If you look through this chart, that scalping strategy would have made you money on this ticker all day. Regardless, at the end of the day, this thing moved to a high of $27 from our first alert at $10. I mean, come on, what an absolute monster. So again, for purposes of the length of this video, I'm going to cut this one off here. But this was a beast today and just a hell of a runner. So let's see, what was next on the list? ELBM. Another incredible one, right? So we had a volume spike alert at 9:37 at $4.77. Wait do you guys see this one? I mean, the alert members, I am just ecstatic for you guys if you were able to catch this. It was just ridiculous. All right, let's see. ELBM. I mean, what a monster of a chart. Look at this thing. And I think we're in after hours here. Trading is still active, but it is still being traded, and we still have volume in this thing at almost 7 o'clock at night, Eastern Standard Time. I mean, just an absolute monster. So we're going to kind of crunch it down. We're going to go back to where we first saw this thing pop up this morning. So all right, let's see. So early this morning, we had a nice spike. This was about 4 o'clock in the morning where we first spiked. This popped up on the scanners. It pulled back. We were going to wait for another kind of break of this high. We never really got it. And then it just fell off, right? And it just kind of fizzled out through here. And it continued to fizzle out. And we were like, that was an interesting spike early this morning. Is it just going to do that and that's it? And it's dead all day? We'll see. So 8 a.m. comes in. You can always tell 8 a.m. even on a zoomed out chart, again, because you see these wicks where it just jumps around. So 8 a.m. comes in, and still nothing really. We're just kind of dancing around. We are on VWAP, though, this whole way, which is interesting, right? Like, we were dancing, off of it and bouncing a little under and back up and da-da-da-da. So it wasn't until exactly 9:30. Let's see, this alert came out at 9:37. It wasn't until exactly 9:30 that we really started to see some volume come into this thing. I mean, look at the volume profile on the bottom, all right? You can tell. I mean, it was dead all through here, and then boom, look at the way this volume, comes rushing in. So 9:37, it would have been this candle right here, and it was at a price of $4.77. So once we started making some good highs here, we didn't know if this thing was going to hit the moon and just hit $8 or what. We got this alert out, right? So you would have gotten this alert somewhere right in about here, if you can see that on my screen. On this candle at $4.77, that would have came through. So
more than likely, it would have taken you a couple, at least a few seconds to open it. We probably would have hopped into the next candle. So what would you have seen as soon as you opened it? Well, you would have saw that you were into this next candle. We were already 20 cents above our 477 alert. You cannot chase. I can't stress this enough, right? So if you opened this up and we were in this next candle, we were 10, 15, 20 cents higher than where the alert came through, you know that your absolute best move, no matter, I don't care what alert comes through or what's going on, the absolute best thing you can do is wait, a minute and let the thing kind of die out and pull back. You're looking for a pullback for your entry. You need to establish a high of day to figure out where your range is. You just have to, right? That's just, it's so important. If you just buy, yeah, you may luck out and make a couple cents in here,
but there's a very high likelihood that you're going to buy, you're going to make a couple dollars, and then bam, it's going to slam down and you're going to lose some money. So do yourself a favor. If this thing is running, just let it run. Don't get FOMO. Don't just buy in randomly. Just wait a second and wait for it to do what it wants to do over the next couple of minutes, right? So within 2 minutes, we made a high here, right? So at that point, you're watching your chart. You're like, all right, cool. We're pulling back. Let me get a line there, right? That's going to be my, sorry, I got to get that deleted. That's going to be my high of day. It's going to be my resistance, right? That's what I'm watching out for. So, all right, this thing pulls back now. You're like, okay, right? So for me, I probably also would have thrown a line here because it created some resistance, and I probably would have thrown one about here because that created some resistance. And when I say that, as this thing was climbing up, what did it do, right? We had a 1 minute candle close. We went into another 1 minute candle that kind of just hovered. We went into another 1 minute candle before it broke through. Well, that little kind of pause in time here, that little 3 minute lapse, that's a little bit of support and/or resistance, believe it or not. The same thing happened here. So immediately, I would have thrown two lines here. What I do is if they're below where the cost is, I actually color them green, because green tells me that they're support and red tells me that they're resistance. It's just something that I do that helps me not confuse all the lines on my screen. So anyway, we got up here, we started pulling back. You were watching this support line, you're thinking, okay, cool, it's pulling back. I'm going to look for a position somewhere around this support, and I'm going to expect it to take off. Well, guess what? It didn't happen. It broke through. Oh, okay, so now you're still waiting. Okay, well, now you're looking at your next support line. So you're saying, hey, I'm going to wait for it to get down here. I'm going to take a position and, for another leg up from here. So what happened? Well, it kind of wicked through a little bit, and then sure enough, we got a little leg up. So you could have taken this play right out of the gate and rode this little leg up. But when it failed, especially being so close to VWAP and all that, you would have had a little kind of profit in here, and then you probably would have cut somewhere. I know I would have almost immediately, especially if we started testing and or breaking VWAP here. So I would have been out there. I probably would have scalped that quickly for a couple of dollars, and then I just would have watched this thing and would have said, okay, well, we're above our lower support line. We are below VWAP. So hey, now I'm actually waiting for essentially a VWAP break, right? Because we're right below VWAP. So what happened here at 10:07? Well, we got the VWAP break. I would have taken another position, no question, right here. So what you're looking for, and this is one of my next lessons for a scalping strategy, is the VWAP line break. So I won't get too much into that, but you got your VWAP break. I would have taken a position for this next ride up, and I would have known, because my previous resistance line was already here, I would have bailed on this thing right about here. And that's actually probably a decent move. Let's see what we got there. So if I took the close of the VWAP reclaim up to before that line, that's a 15% jump, right? So I would have taken that scalp, I would have been out, and then I would absolutely be looking for another position from there. So let me just move this out of the way. So we broke our resistance line, and then what happened? It couldn't sustain. It just fell right back through. It got down into our EMAs. We got down really close to our VWAP, and what did we do? Well, we bounced, right? So that's actually a VWAP bounce in here. Again, something I'm going to cover in a later video. So from this location, I probably would have taken at least a starter position in anticipation of a VWAP bounce. I would have rode that back up here, and again, because we more or less rejected our resistance here, I would have cut before that resistance again, and I would have taken this small 10-12% scalp. So as we move down, okay, I'm thinking the same thing. Okay, well, it came down to VWAP and it bounced, so let's see what happens. All right, it comes down to VWAPs. I probably would have taken a position, and I would have rode it right back up, and I would have cut, right? I would have done the exact same thing. Okay, let me wait for it to get back down to VWAP. Okay, here it is. I would have taken a starter position probably somewhere in here. Maybe I would have got filled a little higher. It danced around a little in here, and then from here we had a break. I would have cut right here thinking we were going to be resistance, and when I realized that, well, wait, we're actually going to break right here. All right, let me just blow this up. We're actually going to break right here. Okay, I would have let it close and said, we're on top of resistance. We broke. Let me see what the next candle does. Okay, well, the next candle opens. It dips down below. The next candle opens. It pops back up over resistance. Now, that's a pretty bullish sign because we're essentially looking at a hammer. It's not a perfect hammer that I want to see, but we're looking at a hammer here. I likely, on top of resistance here, would have taken another at least a starter position for another leg up. If you did that, great. You would have got this nice rocket up for probably a 25% move in here. So this thing presented opportunities all day. I mean, look how it shot up, came back down, and again, it used my original resistance line as support now, right? So that's the importance of charting lines on your chart and then color coding them if you wish to. It helps me for sure. So once we broke and we got up here, if I had enough time and I wasn't trading and whatever else, I would have already changed the color of this line to green because we are price action is above it. So if I'm above my line, it's no longer resistance. It is going to be support. As we come down to it, I'm anticipating it to bounce off this zone. And look what it did right here. It bounced off for another leg up, right? So as we come back down, this is somewhere where maybe I would have gotten stopped out, right? Because as we came back down, I'm anticipating this to bounce off my support line. Well, what happened? It broke the support line. So I probably would have taken a starter in here in anticipation of a bounce. And then as soon as it broke and actually closed under, I would have cut for a small loss. We came down, we tested, it was resistance again. We slammed back down to VWAP, we tested, it was resistance. We came down, we came back up, we broke through over here. We came down, we retested as now support, and bam. I mean, dude, I can't make this thing up. This was just a scalp heaven all day. You could have been playing the 5-8-3 strategy on it, the VWAP bounce strategy, the breakout strategy. It was just an incredible stock all day. ELBM by the end of the day. I mean, wait till you see what this thing did. It got to a high today of $8.80. I mean, from our initial alert, guys, if you had just bought this thing without knowing what you were doing, which we obviously highly advise against, I haven't even measured this move, so I have no idea what that move is, but $8.30, somewhere in there, 78% move to the high of day. I mean, just an absolute monster. Yeah, you were fighting through a bunch of chop, but listen, guys, we are not buying these alerts and just holding them and just checking back in on them after lunch. No, that's not what you do. You will lose money guaranteed if you do that. Are there a few you could do that with and just luck out and make $1 million? Sure. It will not happen back to back, I promise you. So the idea is you have to master these strategies that we are teaching you. Again, we have more videos coming out on the additional strategies, but the number one strategy being the 5-8-13 EMA strategy. If I tried to go through this chart and count how many times you could have played that strategy through here, I mean, you easily could have taken 30 trades through this line here and been green on every single one of them. So anyway, that was ELBM today. It was an absolute beast, and we just I'm so happy and grateful for that alert, and just super happy for anybody that got it and was able to play it like we were. So let's see. I'll do another one here. CRML. So I don't remember. Oh, I do. Oh, I actually really liked this one today. CRML. I don't think the other analysts were trading it like I was. I had it on a separate screen. It was a slow mover, but it was a grinder. I mean, and still grinding in after hours, all the way up to almost $30. I mean, I played this thing several times today. What a nice stock. I mean, just nice and easy flow to it. There wasn't any real like knifes or dropouts on it. It was just a super safe play all day. So CRML was alerted at it's a little bit higher in cost. It was $20.84 at 10:04 this morning. Let me just get to that spot. I don't know what time I'm at here. Where are we? Oh, there's noon. Okay. So all the way back here, 10, where are we? 10:04, right here, right on this candle. So right here is where the alert went out. CRML, boom, right there. And that was at $20.84. So somewhere, actually all the way up here. So maybe it was on this next one here. Anyway, again, what's the first thing we do with alerts, right? You need to figure out what's going on with the chart. Where did this thing come from? Where's my support? Where's my resistance, right? Resistance. So it had actually made the only thing you really could have charted on this immediately was a support line below you. So you had one here, and you had one potentially here, and potentially here. Right, so you had three kind of support lines below you, but that's it. So the way I would have played this, I don't think I played this till a little bit later in the day, but the way I would have played this alert if it came out right here, I would have said, all right, well, let me just see what I need a pullback. I need to see it test my support before I take a position. So you're not just going to randomly, I don't care if this thing has 100 green candles in a row, you're never going to buy in, right? Why? Because we never saw it pull back and test support. I can't stress to you guys how important that is. So this thing's climbing up, another green candle. I'm thinking, all right, well, let's just see where it's going to go. Okay, it kind of flattens out here. So immediately once it flattens out, now I know, okay, great, I have a resistance line. Let's get that marked in red. Make that red. Now I have a resistance line. Okay, it pulls back. I'm going to be, what am I looking for? I'm looking for it to sit on this first support line and then bounce back up. That would be my hope. Well, it comes down. It danced around a little bit, and then it dropped off. Okay, I'm looking for my next support line, which I had marked right here. Oh, okay, it came down, it fell below, but then, hey, guys, it quickly reclaimed, and it actually used that support line to climb back up. So if you had bought the reclaim of this support line right here, you would have had a ride up from, about 1930 up to about in this chop somewhere, about, 2070 or so. $1.50 is not bad at all. So from there, what were we looking for, right? When you're we call this ranging, right? You have a resistance line, you have a support line. When you're in a range like this, it's kind of better to just not trade unless you have like this clear pattern of like up to resistance and not straight down, but down pretty sharp to support, up to resistance, down to, like, if you can start identifying that pattern like we did on the last one, you can start taking trades and just scalping this up down action here. That wasn't really happening through here. So the other two things we're looking for is a break to the downside, which means our support is failing, or obviously a break of the resistance line, which we finally got right here. So that was a great sign. So what were we looking for? I would have definitely taken a trade right here. It would have been a pretty quick one. But once we finally broke this resistance, the absolute next thing, you're not buying that candle that breaks the resistance. You want to see that break. I don't care if this thing comes all the way up here for $7. You got to let that first candle close. And then what you want to see is a back test. So in this case, it didn't go that far. It jumped up here to about 2182. Next candle open, it came down. It immediately back tested our support. The next one opened up. It stayed on our support, just kind of stayed green. That for me would have been a position for sure because we were holding our. So actually, I would have got in on this candle on this back test to be completely transparent. So because it's a beautiful break of high a day, right? So the first candle breaks, you let it close. The next one opens up. a lot of times it doesn't happen in the exact next one. That's the problem. In this case, it did. It came down and it gave me that back test. You want to see the back test of your trend line, of your support line, whatever it was, whatever line you're looking at. You want to see it come back, test that line, hold it, and take off, which is exactly what happened here. So I would have taken this move from 21.45 up to about 22 or so. Again, $1.50 scalp, not bad at all. Then this thing fell back off. It used our line as support here. It bounced up. We got another little move. I probably wouldn't have traded in here, maybe in here, and then probably closed out pretty quick once this nonsense happened. This thing fell off pretty good. It came back down into our range again. We're ranging. We got through here. This area would have been tough because we were still looking at that original. Oh, actually, we were not. Because this line here is now invalidated as resistance because we broke it back here. Now keep in mind when that happens, and it's not a huge break, it still can provide some resistance, right? It's not the high a day, but it's still resistance. So I actually would have had another line on here marking this high a day, knowing that that's now my new upper resistance, which is what happened in this zone. So we danced around here. I don't know. I can't remember if I traded it in here or not. I probably would have been looking at that next high as an entry. Maybe I would have taken it here and gotten stopped out. Don't remember this particular time or trade. I know as this thing got climbing and broke through here, I definitely took a trade. So look what happened. It fell back down to our range. It used that original support line, and then bam, it shot off. We broke our high. It shot off. It pulled back. It used our high line as support. And then look at that move up to the upside. Just an absolute monster. This thing today, I mean, look at what this chart did. Look at where it is. I mean, just absolutely crazy. Like, I'm going to crunch this thing down just so I can measure it for you guys. We're going to put it on a 10-minute chart. Look how beautiful this is. Just crazy. So this thing came out at, again, let's see, where are we here? CRML at 10.04, 10.10, so somewhere around here. We're going to measure that price action and just see what the overall return on this guy was today. So somewhere around here up to about here. 51%. So we did a 51% move from the time of the alert to the high of the day here, all the way up to $29.88. I mean, just an absolute banger today. See, that was CRML. Tons of opportunity in there. Happy to continue to break that down. For anybody else, if you have any other questions I didn't cover on it, there's always going to be questions on these things that I probably don't have a chance to get to, because depending on who you are, your trading style, and what you're doing, you're going to approach these things differently. But that's what we're here for at UMB. We're trying to teach you guys methods and strategies proven that are back tested by us hundreds of times, that actually work, so that when you get an alert and you open up the chart, you're doing the exact same thing every single time, so that you can be as profitable as possible, like we have been after figuring all these out. So anyway, let's just kind of keep moving here. We'll do one more for you. GWH. So GWH, this was a good one today as well. Let's just pull this chart up. So GWH came through at 10:30 this morning. This is still a runner into after hours as well. I mean, what a beast. Look at this chart. Just an absolute beast. I mean, it hit a high today of $12.50. Unbelievable. Actually, more than that. $13.87. Just an absolute monster. So, let's see. 10:30. Where are we? So this alert, and we're still on the 10-minute chart, which I'll switch it for you guys. We'll go to the 1 minute. Let's look for 10:30. Gotta kind of zoom way out. So 10:30 this morning was right about in here or so. So this would have came through, and we may have put the We may have sent out a VWAP reclaim alert when it was really a VWAP bounce alert in here. That's what it appears to be. Again, my VWAP line on Robinhood's always going to be much higher than the trading view line. It's just the way it is. They're calculated differently, but the calculations that TradingView uses seem to be a lot more precise. So anyway, this came through as a VWAP reclaim on my chart. We didn't actually reclaim until probably about noon or so, but once we did, I mean, this thing was an absolute monster. So you would have, again, what's the first thing you would have done? Okay, well, if it's a VWAP reclaim, you would have said, where's my VWAP, right? Let's just assume that VWAP was right here, right? The alert came out right here. You opened it up. We were on top of VWAP. That's the first thing you're looking at. The next thing you're looking at is like, where's my support and resistance? Well, this thing actually had some history before this alert came out. I mean, we didn't get on it until a little bit later. It just didn't pop up on the scanners, but it actually had some history. It came all the way up from $2.17 to a high of $4.18. So it had a big move initially earlier in the morning, and it just didn't pop up on our scanners. We were too wrapped up with CRML and STI and what was the other one? FGL and all those. So anyway, let's go back here. So it came out somewhere in here. It immediately, it didn't hold VWAP, right? So even if you took a position, because let's just blow this up a little bit. The alert came out somewhere about right here, right? So even if you took a position because we had reclaimed VWAP and we got above our EMAs a little bit, that would have been fine. Maybe you made a couple dollars and you got out, but you would have immediately got stopped out. Like at very least, once you lost VWAP, I would have held that position thinking, okay, well, we're going to come back down, test VWAP, and then bounce. Well, guess what? It didn't. It lost. So as soon as it broke VWAP, I would have cut for a small loss. Well, that guy fell off. I would have kept it up on one of my charts and waited for another VWAP reclaim, right, which happened right about here. Look what happened when that did. We reclaimed VWAP. It got into the next candle or two here, and it just kind of consolidated a little bit, and then bam, to the upside. I mean, just that first move there was really nice. So if you took a position here and you caught that move, 23%. I mean, just awesome, right? So this, again, was just an awesome runner. It had so many opportunities all day long. So I would have probably cut that. Let's see if that lines up. Let's get a couple lines, because we forgot to do that, right? When you open a chart and you have no lines on it, you got to get some lines going so that you can see support and resistance, right? So, and here's another one up here, right? So now that's not one. Sorry. Let me get rid of that one. Come on. What happened? There we go. All right. So what did we do, right? We shot up. We broke this resistance, but look, we absolutely topped out at this resistance here, which was one of my previous lines. That's why it's so important to plot these things. So I would have, hands down, no doubt, I would have cut before this first resistance line, because that's the first one. So I would just expect it to reject. Well, guess what? It did, and it kept going to the next one. Oh, well, I missed like 3 or 4%. It doesn't matter. I still caught that entire move, right? So it came up, it rejected the second line, it came back down. And what am I looking for in here? Well, I really don't have too many support lines on my way down, at least that I marked. Maybe I would have found some and been able to kind of mark them. Actually, right here would have been one. I mean, look at this line here, right? Like that would have been a green line that I would have marked as support. I'm trying to get there. This would have been a green line, and I'll show you why. Look at what it did earlier in the day, right? It came down and it bounced right here. And it also bounced right here. So it bounced twice. It shot up through, it came down, it bounced and went up, right? It came down, it bounced and went up, and then came down and finally broke. So that would have certainly been a green line on my chart at that point. And look what it did over here, right? It came down, it bounced off support and shot back up to my top resistance line, or my second to top resistance line. Look at that. I mean, it hit it almost perfectly. Came back down. The whole way down here, I would have been waiting for a bounce, because now that price is above, this line would have been green, this line would have been green. I would have been waiting for it to bounce on one of these. And The way you do that is you let it come down. If it breaks a little fine, you need it to get back over your line and actually close. And once it closes and opens as a new candle, that's your confirmation that it's going to potentially hold, and you can take a starter position. Well, that never happened on these. So it came down, it lost it there. It kind of did it here, and then you got faked out real quick, and it fell way off. Well, what did it do? It got almost down to the same support line. From there, it shot all the way back up, right? So these support and resistance lines are so important to put on your chart, and they don't have to be perfect. I mean, look at here, right? This one here, which was a pretty crucial one for the day, it was not perfect. We had wicks through it. It could have been, I could have had it moved up or down a few cents. It didn't really matter. The idea was that you know generally the area that you're looking for a rejection or you're looking for support. The same thing happened on all of them. I mean, this line specifically, look what happens when we carry it through, right? It came down. We had a wick down to it. It bounced up. It came down. It broke through. It got back on top. Like, the lines matter the entire day. You will see, look what happened right here. It came up, it used it perfectly right here as resistance, right? It came up, it didn't use it perfectly, but it was definitely fighting that zone, right? Same thing happened here on this wick. So these lines, you will see them used as your support and resistance all day long. So it's super important when we get a runner like this that you know that you're going to be trading all day to be charting these lines. You just absolutely have to. If you don't have them on your chart, you're gonna you have no idea what's going to happen at what level. How could you possibly know, right? So it's not difficult to draw these lines. I am more than happy. If you want to see me do a video on drawing support, only on drawing support and resistance line, there's actually more to it than I've showed you, and I am happy to do so. There's very, very, very simple ways to deal with it, and I am happy to make that video as well. So this thing today, again, just an absolute monster, putting out returns of at least 55%. I mean, just actually, it might have been more than that. Yeah, it was a lot more than that. I'm sorry about that. So we ran all the way from our alert today at, let's see, where were we? What are we on? GWH? Alerted at 10:54 at $8.24. We ran from $8.24, which was down at, I'm sorry, down at, let's just drag this up here, and then drag this up here somewhere. Oh, my chart's getting all messed up. 24 cents up there at that resistance line. So we had a total move on that today from the alert at 69%. I mean, these things were just monsters today. So there were a few more. I'm going to let Zach probably get in here and do a couple other ones. If he doesn't cover any of the alerts you're looking for that either I or Zach do not cover in a recap that you're specifically looking for, that you want some help with, I am, again, either of us are more than just reach out to us. Get in the comments, let us know. We will get it done for you, no doubt. So UMB alert members, we are just ecstatic with today's results. I mean, we had so many winning alerts and winning trades. We really hope that you guys banked with us. Let us know as well if there's anything we can be doing differently or doing more of. We are just here to try and help everybody. So if you're getting these alerts, awesome, more power to you. If you're not getting the alerts and you want them, get in the comments again and let us know. We will get you the link, get you signed up, and then as you can see, we will then proceed to teach you how to use them, the most important part. So anyway, on to tomorrow, Tuesday, 10/14. Let's hope for another banger day. I am ready to go, and that is it for this video. I will see you guys tomorrow.